Welcome back to the Slay News. I'm Zach, and I'm here to talk about Juvie3, who is written by my favorite author, Gordon Corman. Thanks, Zach. I know you wrote the book, but how did you think of the scenes, the school, and the halfway home? Those were very creative. Well, I thought of them because they were both in real life, because kids do have halfway homes, and obviously kids go to school, but it wasn't that hard. But thank you so much for the question. Now, about those protagonists. RJ being so big and strong, but so nice. And Gecko, young and being forced to drive a runaway car for his brother while he was stealing. Man, I can't believe how low his brother is. And I can't forget how RJ got into jail, or juvie. He was attacked by the football team because they wanted him to play on the football team, but he refused, so he got attacked. He was swinging punches to defend himself and killed somebody. Unfortunate things happen to big, strong guys. And last, the good-for-nothing Terrence. Man, that guy should stay in jail, juvie forever for selling all those illegal stuff and iPods and stolen iPods and stealing stuff and breaking into houses. Not a good fella. Well, it was actually hard, but I figured that there should be two people who don't deserve to be in jail, Gecko and RJ, and one person that should, Terrence. And there should be a big guy who everybody thinks is going to be the bad guy, but he really did nothing. Like killing a guy on accident because he was being attacked, that's just self-defense. And Terrence should obviously be in jail for stealing that kind of stuff that you talked about. And Gecko, I feel bad for him that his brother pressures him into doing that stuff. Thanks for the question. About that genre, what is it? I would really like to know, and I think our audience would too. Well, about that genre, it's realistic fiction because I thought it would be cool to have something that could really happen in real life in the book. And I really like realistic fiction stuff, and I don't think that there would be any way to make it cool if it was fantasy, like having them be able to fly and break out of jails or something like that. I just thought it would be better to do realistic fiction. Thanks, though. Now, about that point of view, what do you think it is? I've heard rumors, but I want to hear it from the author of the book. I would say it's third person, and I will tell you why. Because in my book, after Gecko says something, it said, "he says." And that means that it is third person. You don't look in the quotation marks. You look what's outside of them and the narrations. So that means that it's third person. Can you tell me one of the sentences of figurative language in the book? Well, I'll tell you a quote from my book. This is Terrence talking about Gecko. This one, he isn't exactly what you'd call a live one. And that's a metaphor because it's comparing Gecko to a live person. So those are two different things, and that makes it a metaphor. Now that we know about the figurative language, I want to know who is the antagonist. Well, I'll tell you, but it's not a who, it's a what. The antagonist is juvie. I would say that because the kids are trying to avoid it as much as they can and as long as they can. That's why they love the halfway home. Thanks. Okay, now that we're done with antagonist, what is the conflict? I would really like to know. Well, I'll tell you. I think it's person versus society. Because the society is trying to keep the kids back into juvie while they're trying to stay out. That's my take on it. Now, on to that theme. What do you think it is? I thought that the theme was you always get a second chance. Because even though the kids did bad things, they still got a second chance to stay out of juvie forever if they did good in the halfway home. But now I have a question for you. What do you think the mood was? From my personal point of view, I would say that the mood was to make you feel sad for the kids and want them all to stay out of juvie, except for Terrence. And here's a reason that I connected with the book, too. I like that stuff. Like, I like the books that make you feel bad for the character and then have them triumph over the conflict. But the other thing is, I really like stuff with fugitives. Like, I like to watch shows like that or something. Thank you so much for asking that question. Well, thank you so much for letting me come, Zach. No. It was all my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. Next, I'll have my coworker Jack tell you about how to survive Mr. Paulson's classroom after these commercials.
This episode of the Schley News, Fox 6, 10 to 12, best news show ever. Recorded by, spoken by, and performed by Zach Schley.